Except for a few phonics sounds and sight words, he was a non-reader. He was 12 years old in 5th grade, and he had had a pattern of low attendance. I think he would tell you that he wasn't very engaged in school. He's what I'd call the silently disobedient type. Not the gonna curse you out in your face type, but the head down, refusal to work type. And you're all likely to get a few of those, and at times they're the hardest to crack, but we got through to him. The way that we got through to him is high expectations. We never let him off the hook. He fought us day after day with his head down, silent refusal to do work. But by the end of the year, he'd taken a step in the right direction. He wasn't completely turned around, wasn't a 180 turnaround that year, and it wasn't until a few years later that we realized what an impact we'd had on him. And the school was mostly TFAs. It was first, second, and third years, and I think a few fourth years. And I ran into him on the street, Mardi Gras time. He was on his bike, and it was a the most important chance encounter of my life. He was riding on his bike, and I did a double take. And it was either 2007 or 2008. The years are kind of blurring. He probably remembers. And he came back into my life, and it was then that I learned what a deep impact that year had had. I mean, we walked away from that year not thinking that we necessarily had a huge impact on Troy Simon. He wasn't one of those kids that told us we did. He wasn't one of those kids that made it obvious the impact we'd had. But from him, we learned, like, even if kids don't express it, like, the impact you have is so profound, and over time, it's enduring. So, every year, just to kind of frame how the last few years have been for him, every year he's had some teacher, sometimes the TFA, sometimes not, who has been a driving force for him. And although he basically self-started his education and he made some decisions to get his life on track, he's always had at least 1 or 2 teachers who have guided him along the way as well. And each of those people, starting with our school and up until the present day when he's at Sci Academy, where he's lucky enough to have a school full of teachers like that. So he, every year, no matter what, he's been at several schools, and every year he's had at least one teacher, TFA or not, who has been there for him, who's gone above and beyond for him, and that's made a huge difference in his life. So the last thing I want to say is just, there will be lots of highs and lows through your first year, but no matter what, you can and you will change the lives of scholars, and you won't necessarily know it that day, and you won't necessarily know it that year, but he's living proof of what effect teachers throughout the years have had on him. So starting a few years ago, all the way until now, and all the way to college in 2 years.